Alright heroes, listen up. Today, we're going full RX. We're talking epic henshin poses, legendary roll calls, and yes, every single form. Robo Rider, BioRider, the whole glorious transformation buffet. And don't lie to me, you've done this before, alone, in front of the mirror, striking the pose like the fate of the universe depended on it. So if you've ever raised your arm, shouted henshin, and felt unstoppable for 5 seconds, welcome home. This is Kamen Rider Black RX, and it's time to strike the pose. This right here is the very first RX henshin pose, all the way back in episode 2. For the first few episodes, this was original Sunriser Belt henshin effects. Back when the Sunriser Belt effect debuted and hit like pure lightning. But once Kotaro gets Rider on, the updated henshin footage just locks in. Cleaner, more confident, the timing snaps into place, the light feels heavier, more decisive. It's the version that says, this is RX now, and then carries that identity all the way to the finale. Most of the time, Kotaro performs the full pose. First, the left fist clenches, like he's reminding himself to be cool. Then, the right hand reaches for the sky, as if checking whether the sun is still on schedule. Then comes that slow, dramatic air cut, like he's slicing reality open. And finally, the last fist. No rush, no shortcuts. Full commitment. RX didn't just give us a transformation, he gave us a mirror routine we've been perfecting for decades. When the Kingstone runs out of energy, the sun steps in to recharge it. No batteries, no cables. RX literally looks at the sky and says, "Alright, time to top up." Sometimes Kotaro skips the full ritual and goes straight into an emergency henshin. Just a quick hand raise and boom, RX is online. It's pure, situation-critical energy. The Sunriser doesn't wait for style points. It just activates like, understood, threat detected. Same power, same hero. Just a rush henshin for moments when evil refuses to wait. Sometimes Kotaro doesn't even bother with the build-up. He just goes straight to the hand raise. No fist clench, no dramatic air cut. Just hand up, and the Kingstone answers immediately. It's the ultimate no-nonsense henshin. Like saying, we'll do the full pose later. Right now, someone's getting kicked. Same Sunriser, same power. Just maximum efficiency, minimum ceremony. Kotaro doesn't just transform on the ground. Sometimes he does it mid-air, pulling a quick hand raise even higher in the sky. No landing first, no hesitation. Just jump, raise, and let the Kingstone handle the rest. Because when you're already airborne, you might as well henshin closer to the sun. In many occasions, Kotaro even henshins right in the middle of a fight, or straight up inside an explosion. Fire everywhere, debris flying, and he's calmly raising his hand like this is perfectly normal. Sunriser flashes, Kingstone answers, explosion fades, RX stands there like nothing happened. And sometimes, Kotaro doesn't even move a muscle. No hand raise, no pose, and the Kingstone goes, say less. Sunlight hits, transformation happens. Kotaro isn't just stuck in one form. Sometimes he goes full Robo Rider or BioRider. Cool, right? But when the fight demands it, he comes back to RX like a boss. During fights, Kotaro often switches from Robo Rider or BioRider back into RX to regain versatility or deliver ultimate attacks. No matter the form, returning to RX is always a statement. Hero fully charged, ready to dominate. Even in mid-air. RX chooses Robo Rider when it's time to stop dancing and start breaking things. RX grasps both fists, tight, heavy, like he just remembered all his unfinished emotional damage. And his unpaid villain debt. And then, Super Tank Unleashed. This is RX switching from hero mode to industrial equipment. Armor thickens, power spikes, and suddenly, the battlefield feels like it needs a building permit. That's how RoboRider is born. When grief turns into strength, and strength turns into absolute unit energy. Every time RX clenched his fists, my brain went, something big is about to happen. I didn't know the words power escalation or form change back then. I just knew I had to sit closer to the TV. And the best part? The anticipation. That split second where your imagination raced faster than the effects. My heart always beat a little quicker, like I was transforming with him. As a kid, those moments didn't feel like special effects. They felt like possibility. That's the kind of excitement that sticks with me, long after the screen fades to black. Kotaro also able to switch to Robo Rider, and then reverts back to himself in a split second. Sometimes Kotaro doesn't even bother becoming RX first. He just transforms straight into Robo Rider. Like the Kingstone already did the math and said, yeah, we're gonna need maximum strength immediately. Alright, shifting gears again. This time, from power to precision. Unlike Robo Rider's heavy fist clench, RX changes the language of his hands for BioRider. Instead of tightening up, he forms that claw-like fist, fingers curved, loose, almost predatory. It instantly tells you this is a different mindset. As a kid, that claw fist was a signal flare. The moment you saw it, you knew BioRider was coming. Things were about to get faster, trickier, and way more unfair for the enemy. The moment when the situation screamed, no way out. That's when RX pulls the BioRider Henshin. It hits like a secret button combo you weren't supposed to know. Lasers phase through him. Missiles pass like bad ideas. As a kid, that moment was pure disbelief. You'd think, that's it, he's cornered. And then, BioRider activates like rules temporarily suspended. Just like Robo Rider, Kotaro can transform directly into BioRider. The Kingstone scans the situation and goes, enable cheat code immediately. That direct BioRider Henshin always meant trouble was serious. Trapped, surrounded, nowhere to run. So instead of fighting the problem, RX simply stops obeying physics. All of this shows that Kotaro had absolute control over his power. He wasn't fighting the Kingstone, he was in sync with it. Transforming directly into Robo Rider or BioRider, it was mastery. That's why Kotaro was the perfect candidate to become a creation king. But he didn't need the throne. He wielded god-tier power and still chose to remain human. After the transformation, RX doesn't rush in swinging. No, first, he announces himself. The roll call isn't just an introduction, it's a warning label. As a kid, this was the moment you knew the monster had made a terrible life choice. The fight hadn't even started yet, and RX was already claiming the moral high ground and the victory. And the funniest part? It was so cool that even the villains just stood there watching, completely uninterrupted. Not because they were being polite, but because they were overwhelmed by the Kingstone's flash before the roll call even began. By the time the light faded and RX spoke, the enemy was already stunned, half-blinded, and mentally behind in the fight. Style, power, and intimidation, all rolled into one glorious introduction. The roll call was easily one of the most epic features of Kamen Rider Black RX. It wasn't just a name drop, it was a declaration. A moment where the fight paused, the light settled, and RX claimed the space like a true hero. By the time he finished speaking, the battle already felt decided. For a kid watching, that roll call hit like a drumbeat in your chest. You knew what came next, and you couldn't look away. Simple, confident, legendary. What's great about RX is that every form has its own specific roll call. For Robo Rider, early in the season, he announces himself as the Prince of Sorrow. It fits. The weight, the grief, the burden Kotaro carried. But later on, that changes. Robo Rider steps up and declares himself the Prince of Flame. That's not just a cooler title, it's growth. Sorrow turns into resolve. Grief turns into fire. The same heavy armor, but now it's fueled by determination instead of loss. Same hero, same power. Just less sorrow, and a lot more burning justice. When BioRider announces himself as the Prince of Rage, it's almost ironic, and that's what makes it great. He's calm, controlled, and yet the title says everything. This isn't wild anger. This is focused rage, sharpened into precision. As a kid, that contrast hit hard. The smoothest form, the calmest stance, calling himself the Prince of Rage. It's a warning wrapped in composure. BioRider moves with fury that never misses. Same Kingstone, different ways to let rage do the work. When BioRider announces himself, it's calm, clean, confident. No intimidation needed, because the enemy is about to learn that hitting him is optional, and missing is guaranteed. If RoboRider's roll call says, stand your ground, BioRider's roll call says, you can try. And that's why Kamen Rider Black RX still lives rent-free in my head. And let's be honest, these weren't just transformation scenes. These were childhood workout routines. If this video unlocks some core memories, hit that like button, subscribe, and tell me in the comments, which form did you practice the most? Until next time.